A thirsty deer took one final sip of water, and in the next second a massive crocodile exploded from the river, locking its deadly jaws onto its leg. The desperate struggle that followed shocked everyone, and what happened next was something no one could have predicted. Stay until the end. The first rays of the morning sun stretched across the African savanna, painting the grasslands in shades of gold. A gentle breeze carried the scent of fresh water from a nearby river, while birds welcomed the new day with cheerful songs. Herds of antelope grazed peacefully. Zebras wandered through the open plains, and towering giraffes quietly reached for leaves high above the acacia trees. Everything seemed calm, but beneath the still surface of the river, hidden from every eye, a silent predator waited. An enormous Nile crocodile rested almost motionless in the muddy water. Only its eyes and nostrils broke the surface. It had spent hours waiting with incredible patience. Unlike fast hunters that chase their prey across the plains, this predator relied on perfect timing. One mistake from an unsuspecting animal would be enough. Not far away, a young deer had wandered away from its herd. The dry season had made water difficult to find, and thirst was stronger than fear. The deer cautiously approached the riverbank, stopping every few steps to scan the surroundings. Its ears twitched at every sound, and its large eyes searched for danger. The river appeared peaceful. After several moments, the deer lowered its head and began to drink. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the water exploded. The massive crocodile burst from beneath the surface with unbelievable speed. Its powerful jaws snapped shut around the deer's front leg before the frightened animal even realized what had happened. The peaceful morning instantly turned into chaos. The deer cried out in panic and threw all of its weight backward. Water splashed high into the air as the crocodile dragged its prey toward the deeper part of the river. The predator's tail whipped from side to side, creating waves that crashed against the muddy bank. The battle had begun. The deer planted its remaining legs firmly into the soft ground, desperately trying to resist. Every muscle in its body strained against the crocodile's tremendous strength. The riverbank became a battlefield where survival depended on determination. The crocodile refused to loosen its grip. It began performing the famous death roll, spinning its heavy body to pull the deer into deeper water. Mud and water swirled together, making it difficult to see either animal. The deer stumbled but somehow managed to keep part of its body above the surface. Its heart pounded wildly. Instinct told it one simple truth. If it entered deep water, there would be almost no chance of escape. Nearby birds suddenly took flight, startled by the violent struggle below. Monkeys, watching from the trees, screamed warning calls that echoed across the river. Even animals grazing in the distance lifted their heads, sensing that something terrible was happening. The noise attracted unexpected witnesses. A group of wildebeest stopped only a short distance away. They did not approach the river, but their presence distracted the crocodile for a brief moment. The predator glanced toward the movement, still holding tightly onto the deer. That tiny distraction gave the deer one precious opportunity. Using every ounce of remaining strength, it lunged backward with incredible force. Its hooves dug deeply into the muddy bank as it pulled with everything it had. The crocodile slid slightly toward the shore, but the battle was far from over. The crocodile immediately surged forward again, using the power of the water to regain control. The deer collapsed to its knees before struggling back to its feet. Its injured leg trembled violently, and blood mixed with the muddy water around them. Minutes felt like hours. The deer was becoming exhausted. Every breath grew heavier. Every attempt to pull free became weaker. The crocodile sensed this. Predators often relied on patience just as much as strength. It knew that tired prey eventually stopped fighting. Yet something remarkable happened. From across the plain, the rest of the deer's herd finally heard the desperate cries. Several adult deer rushed toward the riverbank. They remained at a safe distance, unable to attack such a dangerous predator, but they called loudly to one another. Their alarm calls filled the air with urgency. The trapped deer heard familiar voices. It wasn't truly help in the physical sense, but hearing its herd awakened a final burst of determination. With renewed energy, it pushed backward once more. The muddy ground beneath the crocodile suddenly gave way. For just a second, the predator lost part of its balance. That single second changed everything. The deer twisted its body sideways with incredible force. The awkward angle made it difficult for the crocodile to maintain a perfect grip. The predator's jaws shifted slightly. It wasn't enough to release the deer completely, but it was enough to create hope. The deer jerked its injured leg violently, again and again. Each movement widened the small gap between the crocodile's teeth. Then, with one final desperate leap, fueled by pure survival instinct, the deer tore itself free. It crashed onto the muddy bank and rolled several times before scrambling to its feet. The injured leg barely supported its weight, but fear drove it forward. The crocodile lunged after it one final time. Its jaws slammed shut only inches behind the fleeing deer. Missing, the deer limped as fast as it could toward the safety of the grasslands, disappearing into the tall golden grass, where the rest of the herd surrounded it protectively. The crocodile remained at the water's edge for several moments. Then, slowly, it slipped back beneath the surface. The river became silent once again. To anyone arriving later, nothing would have suggested that such a fierce battle had taken place only minutes before. The wounded deer rested with its herd beneath scattered acacia trees. Though exhausted and injured, it had survived one of nature's deadliest ambushes. Over the following weeks, its wounds slowly healed. The scar on its leg remained, serving as a permanent reminder of how close it had come to losing its life. The experience changed the behavior of the entire herd. From that day forward, they approached rivers with far greater caution. Several adults always stood watch while others drank, constantly scanning the water for the slightest ripple. The crocodile also continued its life. It had failed this hunt, but it would wait patiently for another opportunity. In the wild, predators do not hunt out of cruelty. They hunt because survival demands it. Every successful meal keeps them alive, just as every successful escape gives prey another chance to live. Nature has no heroes and no villains, only survivors. The struggle between the crocodile and the deer was a powerful reminder of the harsh balance that exists. In the wild, strength alone is not always enough. Sometimes determination, awareness, timing, and an unbreakable will to survive can overcome even the greatest danger. As the sun slowly disappeared below the horizon, the river returned to complete stillness. Birds settled into their nests. Insects filled the evening air with gentle sounds, and the wounded deer quietly stood among its herd, grateful for another day of life. Somewhere beneath the dark water, the crocodile waited once again, perfectly still and almost invisible. Tomorrow would bring another sunrise. Another thirsty animal would eventually approach the river, and the endless story of survival in the African wilderness would continue.